Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. This is our Twitch recap from last Sunday's live stream, where we were getting ready to start launching things out to Tremonia Station to get it back up and running and ready to receive crew so that we can get our Lunar Surface Depot up and running. This is some of the stuff I worked on last time, obviously, and I have made a fatal mistake in that the docking port that we need to used to dock with Tremonia Station as it currently sits was covered by the transfer stage. So we need to do a bit of reorganizing here, basically just taking it apart piece by piece and then putting it all back together so that the appropriate docking port is facing in the correct direction. And there, with all of that done and sorted, we can close this up, save it, and get it on out to the launch pad after several days of waiting because, you know, Kerbal Construction Time had to make the changes, and then we'll just time warp ourselves around until our inclination with the moon is at a relatively decent level, and then go ahead and get this thing off the pad. So for all of that, I will turn you over to old me live during the broadcast. Move them over to the launch pad. All right, what's our relative inclination? 0.28. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Volume check to make sure I don't deafen myself. Ignition. Deafen myself. All right, spool is good. Clamps off. Water is running. Yeah, okay. We know that because it's an empty module designed to just hold things. For the time being, that is fine. Three very concerned Kerbals here. Good enough. They all have the exact same look on their face. That's not... Get some originality, you three. And a couple of quick moments to breathe while we let this get up to speed, and then we'll start worrying about how that relative inclination is creeping up. Whoa there, SKS, my friend. What are you? That is some wiggling wiggles. What did I just... Oh, I just hit an action group. And open the cargo bay. Close. No, no, no. Bad. Yeah, when you meant to hit the E key and hit the 4 key instead. Excellent. We are off to an excellent start. Wow, this thing likes to shimmy. I guess it does it more so when you shift all of the tonnage in the cargo bay forward instead of aft like you're supposed to, so this might be a bit of a struggle. When did I make the first shuttle? Oh man. Because this is RP-0 and shuttles were a little bit easier to do, and because I basically I rammed through as much science and tech nodes as I could in the early game, so it was like early 1960s when I started prototyping them, probably mid-60s when we started flying them, but it was basically as soon as I had the Mark II parts unlocked, we started flying shuttles. And their main objective was to get 3 Kerbal LEO contracts. And yeah, well, I mean, basically with KCT, the way it works in RP-0 and it gives you your money back, or it keeps parts in there. Kevin Leekar, thank you for the follow, man. Much appreciated. Why does that alert work, but not the raid alert? That seems silly, but thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Because the way RP-1, RP-0, and Kerbal Construction Time manages parts, when you recover vessels, they go into like an inventory, so when you go to build the craft the next time, you don't have to rebuy those parts. Well, you have to buy the parts, but you don't have to spend time building them, so you basically get a huge discount on construction time, which makes shuttles extra worth it. I don't know how worth it they'll be in RP-1, however. Kerbal alarm clock. Find an Earth-Venus window and a Venus destination window. Launch to Venus and arrive at Venus destination when they reset at the same time. Seems like a very bad idea. It could be, and the way I did it with Pluto and other things, well, that's really the only thing I've gravity assisted to, was to find out what the transfer window from Venus to Pluto was. Or from Jupiter to Pluto, sorry. And then, like, you work backwards through Kerbal Alarm Clock. Although Kerbal Alarm Clock has been wildly inaccurate as of late, so I'm a pro. I'm a pro at screwing up. RP-1 has no idea what reusability is, so don't bother. This might be fair. Yeah, so I wish I'd been able to see your stream yesterday, Lucy, and watch that shuttle fly, because I'm very interested to see how RP-1 handles that sort of thing. And, oh, booster sep. Wow, that caught me a little off guard. We're back in it. Not too much lost. I think we're going to be okay. 1,600 meters per second. Are we gonna make the orbits? And we don't have to actually walk up to a tutor. Oh, we do. What is the minimum altitude on our contract? So we know how high we have to go. 150. Excellent. So we can kind of lowball this thing. Yeah, I'm not sure how Scrapyard works either, but I was hoping it would kind of fill that gap where Kerbal Construction Time kind of abandoned some of its functionality. The doggos seem worried. I think the in-laws are here, and they're carving pumpkins with Baby Crash, so they may just be upset that someone is not sitting in the right place, which is what happens when your dogs are herders. Everyone has to be in their correct place, or you get yelled at. You have transfer window planner. Well then, I mean, use that. It's obviously better. Yeah, Kerbal Alarm Clock is kind of crap. Oh, transfer window planner is also? Oh, bummer. Hoping to have it simming by. Okay. I figured that out a little too late. I really can't wait to see the pictures of that thing flying. I hope it works out really well. Alright, we only need to gain a little bit more altitude, so we're going to just go ahead and start angling this in. Our engine's 10 degrees offset from our, maybe even more. Wookie, how many degrees are these offset from the COM of the shuttle, so that I know how down pointy I can be? Scrapyard fixes the KCT thing. It basically makes rollout time non-existent, but reduces reliability slightly. Well, that seems like a fair mechanic. I kind of like that. Hmm. 50 seconds to apogee. No. We have 6 minutes of runtime left to get through. Good job, Crash. Nicely done. Relative inclination didn't get wildly out of control, so at least we got that going for us. Somewhere around 10 degrees. Close enough. Thank you, Wook. Oh boy. How not to shuttle your program 101? Doing great. And we can probably try to walk this inclination in, since we're going to stand on our tail anyway. Down to 40 seconds. Man, why are we only going 2,700 meters per second? Orbit's going to be a little skinny. This certainly isn't helping our cause, but we need to walk that time to apoapsis up. Just by a bit. The biggest issue with your shuttle is you're a really bad pilot. Same. Alright, human person. Well, thank you for stopping by, man. It's good to see you. I hope you're having a good weekend. Alright, let's see if we can't just ride at about 30 some odd seconds. Oh, is my relative inclination going up again? Doesn't matter. Anything around 0.33 will actually help us get to the inclination of our target orbit around the moon. Smart ASS makes up for my poor piloting. Same. Atmospheric autopilot does what Smart ASS can't. Alright. Time to apogee increasing. We can pitch back down. How heavy is today's payload? Good question. It should have been right around maybe 75 to 80 ton. I think because I just upped the fuel load on the transfer stage as much as I can. And Sega does what Nintendo don't. Ooh, excusa. Alright, 2.6. I think we're okay here. Let's get this nose down and start paying attention to things, Crash. That's the plan, right? Ooh. Alright, where are we at? Time to apogee still climbing. Good. The more we can reduce this angle, the more this Delta V stat goes into actually getting us into orbit. If they ever went out of business, would we call them Nintendid? Ouch. Don't wish ill on Nintendo. I haven't played a Nintendo in probably 20 years, so I can't pretend to have a loyalty. My sister stole my Game Boy. My brick, my original Game Boy, because yeah, I'm that many old. And I didn't even know she had it until like 5 years ago, and now she's like, no, I'm not giving it back. It's the only game I think we have left is Kirby's Dream Land. Fake fan, totally. I just missed the Super Mario on that Game Boy, because it had like a level towards the end where you're just like in this little airplane, and it was like a side-scrolling, you know, shooter thing. I was like, what the hell is this doing in a Mario game? But man, alright, I think we're on a pretty good track to actually hit orbit right around main engine cutoff. We'll just try to balance that time to apogee with our runtime. I know it's falling right now, but as we get closer to about the 5.5 to 6 kilometer per second mark, we should kind of level that out a bit. We're just gonna not throttle back the engines and let these guys deal with it. Metroid 2 on Game Boy Pocket. Oh man. My brother had Pokemon Red and had Pokemon Blue. Oh wow. Now we're climbing again, so let's go ahead and pitch this nose down about 10 degrees, because that should actually put our thrust vector right down the horizon. It's probably going to be a little closer than I'd like. So my sister and I came a little too late for the Pokemon games, unfortunately. I did have many friends who actually played the card game at the lunch table in high school. That and Magic the Gathering. Alright, 50 seconds to Miko. Let's angle this in just a bit more. Oh, not quite that much, guy. how close are we going to be to orbit, I wonder? Let's just go ahead and let that time work its way up, and yep, we're just gonna pitch down because the bulk of the cargo is in the forward part of the cargo bay, offsetting our balance by quite a bit, and it is none too pleased with this fact. Alright, let's not descend to Earth in case we have to light the OMS engines. We don't. 258 by 221, that's a solid orbit with 358 meters per second left to the tanks. I'll call that a victory. Sweet. So we'll go ahead and time warp ahead a little bit as while we get our cargo deployed. There's our EFT jettison. Now we can open up the cargo bay, get our shuttle solar panels out so we can make some battery stuff, and then get our cargo out of the bay. We'll take unlocking some fuels. It was at this point that I realized the transfer stage I forgot to include batteries, which we do have these solar panels, but without batteries they're not going to do us any good if we're in the shadow of some planetary body. So this whole mission just got a lot more interesting. So we will go ahead and unlock our fuels after topping off from the shuttle core itself. We'll pop a solar panel out right away just to make sure that we have enough charge to actually get out of the bay. I mean, it would take a Kerbal having to EVA and then manually go extend a panel to kind of reboot this thing, but that's a lot of trouble I'd just kind of rather not go through with at this point. But now that we're done and clear, we'll just verify some things here on the shuttle, make sure that, see if anyone has a drill. That's what I was doing, because we were thinking about maybe plopping an RTG on there, but no one has any tools. Well, we do have a qualified engineer on board who could transfer the part. We forgot to bring a toolkit, which will have to become standard fare on all shuttle flights as part of the default from which all other shuttle missions are based. I hope I don't forget to do that, because as of this recording, I have not. So, you know, that's a thing. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and plot our intercept for the moon, and of course it's on the nighttime side of Earth. Why wouldn't it be? Why can things just never be smooth? So we'll try to dial this in just a little bit, not taking too much care because I know there's going to be a mid-course or at least some touch-ups after the burn so that we can adjust our inclination with our target a little closer to the fact. So to preserve battery, we'll stay switched to the SKS Heavy before switching back out to our transfer stage with this core hub and life support module, and then discover that staging won't activate our engine, or at least it won't unlock the gimbal, and that's kind of a problem. So we can activate it through the right click menu, but of course that does not unlock the gimbal for the engine. So it did kind of cause a little bit of problems as we tried very desperately to adjust staging in order to get that thing to actually work the way it needed to. Finally, we did get it unlocked, and well, here's old me to go through the burn. I'm certain this ship will run out of power. We're just going to go ahead and light this thing up early. We should be good. I thought this thing had the highlighting very stable. Yes, indeed. Man, we are aiming way below horizon. You know, say we got 150 tons worth of avionics core on here, so it absolutely should not be tonnage related. Imagine working at NASA and having this problem space killing. Press Alt L. It would be why I don't have a job at NASA. Be like, oh yeah, it's time to make the mid-course correction. Power up this system. Oh, what does Alt F4 do? And then millions of dollars out the window. We're gonna have to just go ahead and do this. I know it's a little early, but we can correct once we're on the other side of the planet. Yes, I did, Lucy. Yes, I did. Set SCC. At least you actually don't need the gimbal on this thing if it hadn't worked. Not one of my prouder moments, Lucy. This is straight down the middle. You know, we can hope that I wouldn't have needed it, but I'm glad that we have it. So, you know, I'll have to look up a very obscure joke. Alright, so 7 minutes will take us to burn through all of 4.5 kilometers per second. I'd rather not lock the gimbal and see what happens. It's been a lot of struggle and strife getting it this far. Let's not intentionally screw it up. And now we wait. I have about 2.5 minutes of power. Oh yeah, we don't have a generator on this engine. Oh no, how far from the Terminator are we? Come on, KSP. Yeah, the Terminator is not where we want to be, but as we start to shift up, we'll get there sooner. Should have lit these engines a while ago, but that also means that any little oomph we can get it. Margaret NASA gets trolled by Twitch chat saying there's Alt S4 closes the window for main ground control. He explained to NASA why it happened. Maybe 15 minutes away. Might be a bit more than that if we've got 2 minutes of power. Basically, the higher we can get ourselves, the better off we'll be. But we are still in the descent phase of our orbit, so we'll just see how much of this burn we can get done in 2.5 minutes, and then correct for it from there. Does flight computer work when you have no power left? I mean, you can type all you want and poke at it, but it won't process any commands without power. Good life philosophy, the higher the better. It may keep the engine on. Yeah, we are not sure. I guess we'll find out. This is true. I don't want the engine to be on for 15 minutes. It would run through all of our fuel, and if it tries that, we can just lock the tanks. So, we're coming up on the end of our battery now. Stop the burn before you lose. I want to see what happens. Oh yeah, we got plenty of ignitions, but I want to know if we run out of power, if it'll keep the engine running or not. I'm kind of curious, and we can shut it down by killing its fuel supply, so I'm not worried about it just running away. Probably shut the engine down. Yeah, I'm thinking it makes sense. Locking tanks and stuff. They changed it in later versions of the game. You can't lock batteries anymore. Gold spheres too, they should already be locked. Yep. Alright, how does RP1 handle out of power while engine running? Coming up in about 20 seconds. There are the balls, Wookie. He was trying to be polite. But what self-respecting spacecraft doesn't just flaunt its massive golden balls? No, did I say RP1 when I meant to say RP0? Good for me. And SAS disengaged. That's all we get, really? SAS disengaged? Yeah, a little bit of wiggle. Oh, we have no telemetry control. I can't alter the course, and I can't... Okay, I can shut down the engine, but I can't lock tanks. Well, that's interesting. 3 years into this series, I'm still picking up new stuff every now and again. So it looks like we'll have to go ahead and take a lap, charge up the batteries, switch vessels, and then come back to complete the rest of this burn with some electric charge in our avionics core. So first step is to replot the node, hopefully successfully, even though there'll be about a 4 and some change hour difference between when we last went and when we were supposed to go. So we'll switch out to the shuttle and let the batteries on our station core thing kind of stay magically topped off, because those things are just not computed when it's not the active vessel. Not that this is cheating at all, but ground control would have given a command to store batteries, wait till they're topped off, and then shut it down with a timer on when to come back online. And of course, here's switching back to said probe core. It has just been brought back online. The batteries have been made active. We are steering into the node and lighting up our ELE experimental engine. Very briefly, forgetting to turn on SAS, but that'll get solved real quick, because yeah, I'm real bad at flying these things without it. So we are back on our way to the moon, thankfully. Finally. This, well, you know, I'm glad we've learned these things, so I can go ahead and make changes to the other station parts that will be going up on future shuttle flights, so that we can hopefully not have to deal with any of this silliness ever again. So there's our moon encounter. We'll just adjust this out with some RCS, reset our target so that we can figure out our ascending and descending node. And of course, we'll try to make an adjustment for that a little later on our approach, because we're kind of off axis from right now, so it doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of difference. But we'll plot this node out here at our SOI change, because that will be in very broad daylight, to bring down our periapsis and adjust our inclination. And in the meantime, we might as well just go ahead and enjoy the view as we depart Earth en route to the moon. I think we are, let's see, we have the solar systems to deploy. That's another shuttle flight. The docking hub is another shuttle flight, and I think the habitation module is going to go up on a DN series. It's just too awkwardly shaped to fit into a shuttle bay, and we might need a larger transfer stage, because docking is going to take a extra long time with that one. So we are, what was that, 4 flights away from bringing this station fully operational. The good news is that the turnaround time on SKS Heavy is only about 60 days. So currently we're about halfway through 1993. So I'm really hoping that by March of 94, we should see a return to active status for Tremonia Station, and thus to Rosalina Memorial Station down on the surface. So we are going to go ahead and make our inclination change, and then go ahead and plot on in for our orbital capture. And for all of that, I will turn you over to Old Me. Oh, look at that. Battery just dropped, and we've got 23 minutes to go. Do we burn early? Yeah, let's at least put ourselves into an orbit. Because it's either make the burn too early or make the burn too late, but the actual amount of DV to arrest into orbit should be relatively small, and we have the ignitions on this engine, so why not just abuse the privilege? All we wanted to do is see that apoapsis shift into something. Boom, there it is, captured. Ish. I mean, that isn't going to tell us captured, but, you know, alright, whatever. We'll come out the other side and we'll be happy. Seven, 6, 5, yeah, battery's dead. Okay, so now we just wait for sunrise. Boom, there it is. Ullaging, ignition. Boom. Much better. Kill it. Alright, let's go see what we got here as far as our Oh, that worked out really well. That worked out really, really well. We are captured in orbit. Our ascending, or whichever one, descending node is very close to our apoapsis. Perfect. Yes! Happy times. Bob Ross would approve. And while I had intended to do this docking off stream and get it made into part of this episode, I've run out of time. I got tests this week, so unfortunately that's going to have to do it for this episode, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one. So until then, see you later.